episode of Designer Beginnings, we had the chance to go behind the scenes with designer Daniel Park as he sat down with us to share his story. Daniel Park began his career on Broadway, acting and singing alongside top Broadway personalities before deciding to make the switch to interior design. He graduated in 2010 with a BFA from the New York School of Interior Design and was able to land his first design job at Rockwell Group just after graduation. After working on the design and building of international five-star hotels and restaurants for David Rockwell, then Jeffrey Beers, then Tony Chi, Daniel was offered a position as design director for Lauren Marsh. In 2014, just 4 years after graduating from NYSID, Daniel started his own design firm, Daniel Park Design. Since the establishment of his firm, Daniel and his work have been featured in Interior Design Magazine, New York Cottages and Gardens, and Lux, amongst many others. Daniel sits on the Foundation Board of Trustees with the American Society of Interior Designers and has plans to debut his own furniture line in the fall of 2016.
Hello and welcome to Designer Beginnings. I'm your host, Alex Soboleski, and we're at Lexington Home Brands, where designer Daniel Park has designed a vignette for his Designer Beginnings interview. Let's check it out.
I'm thrilled that Lexington Home Brands has graciously opened their showroom for us and this interview. I think that the furniture and accessory pieces are absolutely stunning. This vignette was styled by me, and I wanted to take inspiration of natural elements mixed in with some formal elements in order to create great contrast. And it's a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of flowers, and some beautiful textures all around to make the space look ethereal and magical.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We're very excited. You're such an inspiration to so many young designers. How and when did you know that you wanted to become a designer?
Wow. You know, it was when I used to be on Broadway. I was a singer on Broadway before I decided to become an interior designer. I was 23 years old, reaching my lifelong dream of singing in Stephen Sondheim's revival of Pacific Overtures. And it was at that moment when I said, great, I'm here, I'm on stage. I've reached my lifelong dream, everything that I've ever wanted to do, all the acting, singing lessons, ballet, tap, jazz lessons, I did it. I got on Broadway, I was singing my solos, and right when that show was about to close, I tried to reassess my career, and I said, okay, as an Asian American actor, working the ranks of Broadway, is this a career that I can have longevity for the rest of my life? And I thought, you know, hard about it, and I said, you know what? If I were to choose another career, I should do it now before it's too late. So I decided to start out and go all the way back to school. Here I was, you know, at a certain level on Broadway, and then I went all the way back to school, starting at interior design, and
That's a pretty interesting transition. That's like a pretty big life change.
It was one of the biggest changes of my life, yes.
So where are you originally from?
Well, I was born in New York and raised in Seattle, Washington, where my parents still live.
Two different worlds.
Yeah, East Coast, West Coast, and a lot of people, when they find out that I'm from Seattle, they're like, "Oh, I kind of get it." It's nice to have the intensity of Manhattan and then like kind of get.
You can get away.
Totally.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
It's important.
Because living in New York can be pretty tough.
Right.
And especially from a success point of view, like trying to make it here can be pretty tough.
New York is tough. You kind of have to be on your game to make it in this city, and that's what I like. I love the challenge. I think that's great. But also having a different perspective of another city actually helps me to be successful here in New York.
So while you were in school, what did you think that you would do after graduation? And was it what you expected to do?
Yes. While I was in school, I wanted to become a hospitality interior designer. I was really, whenever I would go to a five-star hotel, I would be enamored by the interior design. And so from first semester, I had a strategy when I was entering school. I said, I'm going to use the same formula that I used to get on Broadway with the determination and the hard work for interior design. And since I wanted to be a hospitality interior designer, I geared every single project that I've ever worked on towards hospitality, so my final portfolio can be a portfolio that was succinct, that had some sort of design language that flowed from one project to the next. And I achieved it. In 2010, even during the height of the recession, I got a full-time job working as a junior designer at Rockwell Group the day after graduation.
So what do you like to do in your spare time?
I don't have any spare time.
Yeah, I figured. Oh my gosh.
I'm working on
busy.
Daniel Park Design. Let's see. I like hanging out with my friends, and a lot of my friends I've known way before I started design school. So they come from all different walks of life, and yeah, I just like hanging out on a Friday, Saturday night with them, just chilling.
So you do have some time to go out and have some fun then?
Sometimes.
It's not all
maybe
work.
once or twice a week, but that's about it.
So what was your first design job after school, and how did it prepare you for the future?
It was Rockwell Group. Thankfully, in 2010, I got a full-time job being an interior designer for Rockwell Group, and I was put into a studio of amazing designers and architects, and I was in charge of choosing all of the FF&E, fabrics, finishes, materials, architectural finishes, and decorative finishes for a major international resort, where I worked on several lobbies and restaurants, spas, and outdoor pool areas. And yeah, I got to coordinate a monumental scale resort.
So we know that you have since started your own design firm.
Yes.
What happened between Rockwell and you starting your own firm?
Well, you know, at Rockwell Group when I was working, and it was still during the time in America where interior design, not very many people were building new hotels and restaurants at the time. And there happened to be a position available at Lauren Marsh, a furniture showroom in the D&D building. And I was lucky enough to get a position as their design director, designing new furniture, lighting, and accessories for Lauren Marsh for several years. And it was nice. I was designing resorts at Rockwell, then I jumped to product design. It was a smooth, easy transition for me, and I had a lot of fun learning a whole new set of skills.
What is the craziest thing that a client has ever asked you to do?
Well, yes. They asked me to design a nightstand that has like locks all over the place inside the
A
nightstand.
nightstand that has locks all over the place. So this is your furniture design.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It was very interesting.
Did they tell you what they plan to use it
No, and
for?
I don't want to know. Client confidentiality.
Yes, sir. Oh my goodness. What was the most difficult part about starting your own design business?
Yeah, I had to learn about certain things that I never had to deal with. Like, for instance, when I was at my full-time job, it would be like, all right, we'd look in the computer and we'd be like, okay, next week I'd be working on the Grand Hyatt in Chengdu. Then I'd be working on the Four Seasons in some foreign country, and a Mandarin Oriental here and something there. And as a new business owner, I have to go and look for new clients while I'm crazy busy with my current projects at hand. So it was learning about the evolution of new business development that was a great challenge for me, and also learning about how accounting and bookkeeping and taxes and all of that stuff works as well.
That's the stuff we know nothing about coming out of school.
Right.
And that's something that I think I'm not sure even what to ask on the subject.
Well, it was a slow and steady process of me just kind of asking the right people the questions that I needed to know in order to get those boxes checked. And now that that's all figured out in my world, and it's better. I have to say one one thing is, if anyone decides to start their own company, hopefully they do it after some solid full-time experience to get a good foundation.
Very inspired by so much of what you've shared. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I want to continue doing exactly what I'm doing right now. I want to keep moving forward with my residential interior design for Daniel Park Design, and continue with my product design and my licensing deals, and that's where I want to be. I want to be happy doing what I love, which is interior design.
So how can we see some of your product design? How, what can we
It'll be in showrooms across the U.S. very soon.
It's exciting. Look out.
Hi, I'm Daniel Park with Daniel Park Design. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope this has inspired you to reach out for your dreams and just go get it. Life's too short, just go get it. Thanks.